think I'm gonna speak a little bit only about the dimensions here. So only when the dimensions are mentioned or are important, I'm going to speak. The rest, we do the first 4 steps we always do in every drawing. This point here needs to be on this point of the compass, and the zeros must match my line. This line is matching 180, this line is matching 0, this line is matching 90, so this way I match 30 here and 150 on the other side, and then I draw my lines. We need to always pay attention that we are using centimeters and not inches in our drawing, because if we use inches, it's going to be much bigger. Inch is bigger than 1 centimeter. When we are looking at this shape here, 20, 20, 20, 20 is always 20 millimeters, and every 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter, so 20 millimeters is 2 centimeters, always. Here we have 40 and 20, so this is 4 centimeters and this is 2 centimeters. Now I'm going ahead with my measurements. So we have 4 20s, meaning 80. So I'm starting from 8 till 0. 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1. On the other hand, those measurements I will mark on my center line here. Also, 4 20s makes 80. 1, 3, and 4. And then we go this way. We mark 40 first. 40 is 4, we mark it here. And then we mark our 20 by pointing from 2 till the end of the ruler. Try to make your... And then I'm going to make a lot of parallel lines to make a grid. This grid will help me make the stairs and the L shapes. Again, we remember I'm going to put this ruler here to guide my first line of the grid. I'm going to use it here. Always make sure that it is in the correct place and you are using it for the correct straight line. I'm matching this line in my parallel. Those lines will help me later build the stairs and the L shape too. I usually start by building the big box, but because of the stairs, I'm going to put the parallel lines in the beginning and then proceed to the big box. Now I have my parallel lines, vertical parallel lines in place. I'm going to finish my big box. My big box finishes like this. I make a parallel from here to the last point on the height here. This is the highest point in middle line, 80. And I slide to it and make my parallel here. And then on the other end, this is the other side. I put my ruler here and I slide up and make my big line here. This line needs to be bigger. I just extend it as I know where it's going. I know the direction and I'm sure of my parallel with this line. Now I have this line parallel to this line, I have this line parallel to this line. I'm going to continue making my box by going here. This line here, I go to the last point here. I cannot reach it, so I go like this. And make sure that when I'm sliding, I'm going to reach that point, that faraway point. That is the last point in my big box. And then I'm going to match this line with a parallel line on the other direction. So that is my big box. Now I'm going to weaken those lines. They're not going to be completely erased, just weakened enough not to confuse my sight and cause me to make mistakes. Now I can be ready to make my L lines because everything is almost in place. All I have to do is start at this point here, make a parallel here to this line here. I would check, is my line correct? Again, I will check my line and make sure it is correct because I feel like it is not 100% correct. Let me see. Okay, yes, there is a little bit of, now this is the correct line. Little bit of mistake here. Always check again. Don't just make one trial and just go about it. No. You can see that you are making a mistake. Stop and try again. Now I put this ruler here and I slide. And I make my line, and that is my first L. Now my first L is completely ready and it's part of the shape, so I can actually darken it right away. Those are the lines that I can emphasize right away. This is correct line. This is also part of the L. But before I emphasize it, I want to make sure what to emphasize, so I will go up at this point here. This is point 20. To finish my second parallel. Okay, and now I can emphasize those lines. The period is over, I think. And that is my first and second L. Compose. She's going. Now I'm going to do this. One, two, and three. Okay, I can see from here that I'm making a mistake, so I have to get over the mistake by starting over again from here. Yeah, there is a problem. It is very visible to me when I put my ruler. There is a mistake here. You see that? That will cause me a confusion at the end. So I put it here and I go on. You don't have to erase it. All I have to do is find my mistake and correct it. Yeah. Sometimes my ruler moves and I don't notice it, but I can see that the line is not going the right direction. So I stop and do it again. Now I can make my stairs. One, 2. Which line is the correct line? It's the lower line. And then you can pause now. Thank you so much. Okay. Now we've done this. We need to get rid of those lines. Not completely, just weaken them. Don't try to erase everything. Those are guiding lines. We might need them later. We don't completely remove them. Okay? We just leave partly just where they are. But they are not as strong as the finishing lines. Yes? The same is here. We don't need all these lines to be strong. Only the finishing lines are the strong lines. So we have a finishing line here. That is the only line that I need to strengthen right now after all that is done. Now I'm going to make a parallel for this line from all those points. It's not going to be a fun task, it's a tedious task, and engineering drawing and engineering is like any craft. It needs patience. Without patience, you can't go anywhere with this skill. You cannot increase your level and the skill. That is the steady part. Okay, now I'm going to do parallel from this point to this point. Parallel for this line at this point. So I'm going from here. Oh, I have a parallel already. See, I can use that and move from this line because it's already there and make sure it is passing the point that I want. That is why I don't erase everything, because I will use again. Now I have matching point here. This is the first face of the step, you see. Now the second face of this step is going to be parallel for this, so I can use that too and move to that point. That's why I don't erase everything, because it's reusable. Now this is already done. This is already there. All I have to do is emphasize it. As I said, sometimes we will reuse our guiding lines. Sometimes we need them to make new lines. This is the correct line. And we move ahead. Oops. This is not a big of a mistake because the parallel line is still showing. Now what did I do wrong? This is too strong. That's why it feels wrong. Okay, now I have to go down, yes? Because this is the stair. First side, second side of the first stair. First side, second side of the second stair. Now I emphasize this line, make it very strong. Make it very strong. Now I have to go down. I can parallel with this line, because it's easier and closer to my hand to do that. Since all of my lines are parallel, I can use any of them at any time. And this line is also reusable. It's in place. All I have to do is just connect those 2 points and the parallel will be there. And that is my stair. Now if I clean it up a little bit, we can see the end product. All those extra lines can be removed at the end and only at the end. extra lines can be useful before the end. So do not remove the lines until you know you are completely done. And that's that. Do you understand?